Hi guys, welcome back to Lunatic Astrology. Today we're going to talk about what I think is a slam dunk end of the pandemic, especially in the United States of America, mostly applying, of course, to the Americas, but maybe more, and what's going to be an auspicious sky that goes with this trine of Neptune, who's associated with viruses, to the sun, which happens once a year, but in a weird connection to the asteroid Wuhan. Yes, Wuhan, and the asteroid that is America, the name America. Those two are co-joined in the sky today. I'm going to do a real quick overview of all signs of how this glorious trine of the sun to Neptune, which happens, in this kind of way once a year. The sun is an applying trine to Neptune in the sky, and the feeling that this can bring of enchantment, of deep soulful connection to one's deepest essence, of magic, of alchemy, of being able to get your purpose aligned with your soul, and a bunch of other juicy stuff. So we'll do a quick all signs. I'm going to go through it pretty quickly, but I want to talk about what this collective sky looks like on November the 12th, 2021 for the world. And I think in the United States, a clear end to the whatever wave the Delta variant has been in. And also Mars has now finished his pandemic story that he began during his Virgo death and rebirth in the heart of the sun back in September of 2019, and rising and dying and being born against a place where he's not comfortable. Virgo, health challenges, Mars, god of pandemics and plagues in the ancient tradition. And that story is ending, and Mars is rising in Scorpio around 15 degrees on the 22nd of November. And he's going to tell a new story. Now he's rising in dignity. He died and was reborn on October the 7th in Libra. That's not a place of great strength for him. No, it's not. But it's also not the worst place for him, and, I feel like, when he died and got reborn October 7th in Libra, that could be couple of years with all kinds of things out of balance to do with law, legislation, and legal issues. Certainly in the United States, that would be true. But with his rising in Scorpio and being visible again, starting on the 22nd or 3rd of November for certain places in the world, he's rising in his power and his dignity. And I don't think he's going to give us a pandemic or continuation of it, but rather a war. But if there is a war or a difficulty in the world with that, I think it is actually serving something good, like bringing up something that we need to look at. Scorpio war, maybe it's cyber war, stealth war, hidden war. Let's take a look at what I'm looking at so you can see what I'm seeing, and I'll talk about what I want to share. So I just made this a very simple chart today, and I want to say, hey, simple chart. Wuhan and America are sitting in the sign of Cancer at 20 and 17 degrees. It is America at 20 degrees of Cancer on November 12th. This is an asteroid. I can't draw it into the software, but where my cursor is, I'm clicking here. You've got a 20-degree America and 17-degree Wuhan conjunct, and they are forming what is called a grand water trine with the sun in Scorpio and Neptune in Pisces. Now, Neptune is a god associated with viruses and can be associated with plagues and illnesses that are viral and hard to, like, small things are hard to see, but you have to worry about, like viruses. And you've got the sun in Scorpio at 20 degrees, and you've got the Wuhan America over here in Cancer. Now, this is I set this chart to look like where it looks like where I live, but I'm going to move it to a US natal chart. By how? I'm going to move everything forward a bit, and I'm going to show you what the US chart looks like. Natal chart, not exactly, of course, but the United States is a Sag rising, right? So this means that if we contextualize this to the United States of America, this grand trine is happening from the sun in the house of hidden backroom deals and secret affairs, and Neptune in the house of the White House, the home, the homeland, the people, the heartland, the homeland of the nation, and the 8th house, the house of secrets and forbidden fruit and forbidden stuff and stealth and all of that. Now, the United States has its sun in the 8th house, and that's an interesting placement because where the Wuhan America combination occur, it's within 7 degrees of US natal sun. And so therefore, there's a sense that The US is solar energy, the Cancer solar energy of the US, which is also connected to where Joe Biden's exalted Jupiter sits, is being enlivened by this water trine. I do think the Wuhan America conjunction of two asteroids here, creating a water trine, flowing, harmonious, fortunate energy, could, for one thing, spill information, news, or secrets, or knowledge that's hidden from view, and that could shed a new light on the pandemic. But also, it's quite possible this simply is going to signal the winding down of the majority of the pandemic issues in the United States right now, whether by the fact that there's endemic equilibrium and more people have been exposed to the virus and or vaccinated, and now it just becomes like a really bad flu. We expect flu season to take people out who are elderly and immune compromised every year. So this could just be the way this virus now participates with humanity. You can see that in the sky on the 12th, that how tight this is. Of course, this is a perfect trine, but also that the sun will then on the same day already be in a nice, harmonious angle to Pluto, the god of power. In the United States, this is in the United States economy and finances and issues to do with that. This bodes in the short term, okay? This is not a long-term thing though. So you could say there could be a pop in the equities markets, or currencies go up or are higher valued, or crypto rebounds or something along those lines. Let's say November 12th at about 6 days when the sun is still in that connection to Pluto. But also you can see that there's a square to Jupiter that's pending about 3 days after the 12th of November. This energy could be conflict with legal and legislation and heads of state and people in power. With Jupiter, that can be those things. But Jupiter in the third house of the United States has to do travel, trips and travel, and especially domestic travel. And maybe there's going to be a change of policy regarding vaccinations and travel, or something going on where there's conflict between a leader and maybe legislative forces regarding laws and rules to do with pandemic and travel. And that is a gritty tension that may be happening around the 15th and 16th or so, 14th, 15th, and 16th of November. Now, for all of us individually, this sky tells a story. So we're going to go whipping through that very quickly today. And I'm going to tell you a bit about what it might mean for you based on your rising sign. Your sun and moon are also relevant. Let's just start with Sag rising, because we see Sag is right here, right now, guys. So if you're a Sagittarius rising and you want to get the sweet nectar of this Sun trine Neptune around the 12th of November, you're going to find it the best place to receive this flowing energy of goodness is from your dreams at night and your inner life, your meditations, and the place that the sun sits, the 12th house. And then the Neptune is your home, your domestic and private life. And so things coming from your homeland, your mother, your ancestral origins, Neptune in the fourth, and the sun in the house of your dreams and your inspirations and your downloads and your trance states, etc. This is really good for a lot of you Sagittarius of busting an addiction, right? Whatever addictions you might have, whatever self-defeating, self-sabotaging stuff you have, this trine can really support you to lick it around November 12th and give or take 2 or 3 days on either side. And I'm just going to keep that story really simple. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign, especially rising. You know, the sun is shining in the house of your hopes, dreams, and wishes, that 11th house of, you know, the fairy godmother and the genie in a bottle, and also the place of, you know, great gains from your career financially, and is in a trine with Neptune. And Neptune here is, you know, offering up unconditional love and higher vision and high imagination, but also just a sense of connecting to the deeper soul of your highest dreams and wishes through third house placements. Now you get a chance to renew this at least once a year, that's for sure. But I also would say that, you know, the vibe here in the sky with the Jupiter square and the sextile to Pluto, there's a lot of power that you can get as a Cap right now, Capricorn, that has to do with capitalizing on what you're worth and what gains you should be getting from your career path and your reputation, and standing up to power and becoming powerful. This can definitely look like promotions and raises and advancements, and Neptune giving you a dream that you have. If you want to take a trip and go on a journey, this is also highly supported. That journey would bring you great financial gain perhaps, but also just a great sense of tapping from the wellspring of your deepest aspirations. All right, so keep that in mind. Anything else you want to say? Nope. How to harness this magical trine between the sun and Neptune for Aquarius rising, especially sun and moon. I am Aquarius rising. So we definitely look at the sun moving through our 10th house of career and bringing us solar highlights there. And that's been happening for 20 days now. Okay, Aquarians. I downloaded a whole new course I'm going to teach in 22, and I can't wait because I think it's the thing I'm here for. And it's really cool. So for a lot of us, we've been having that solar light in the 10th house, but now that there's this Neptune trine coming for the 12th, we're really able to stick the landing to do with how we can blend this vision and this ideal that's in the house from Neptune in the house of our voice, vocation, and earnings and money with that solar light in the 10th. Now, it could really be a day of great dreaming into it, but you could also have someone in power or authority, sun in the 10th, bestow upon you a blessing of some sort to support you in the direction you want to go with regards to your career and your money story, harmoniously aligning in a divine flowing way. I think with that Jupiter square and that sextile to Pluto, great power coming from the deep inner life and your spiritual reserves from other lives and your own kind of past life karmic juice that Neptune's stirring up some of the nuggets of gold in the underlining of your past lives, if you believe that stuff. But with the square to Jupiter from the sun at the same time, about 3 days later, you might bump into some sort of obstacle from your own side of the thing. Jupiter in your first house could be you are putting up a bit of a cautionary slowdown. Jupiter in Aquarius is bowing to Saturn, who's there with him right now. And so you're going to want to do it with exuberance set as well measured and very steady. It's almost like a great development in your career and your money, but you're going to take it at a measured and steady pace. And Jupiter will kind of put a calm blessing of looking at how to get fruit from the tree in a sustainable way. Tree of your career and the harvest of the money from that. Oh, I went 2 signs ahead. Sorry about that, guys. I can't get to the other sign with it going into the minute, so you're going to have to bear with me. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign people. You know, with the sun for the last 20 days in your 9th house of Dharma and higher education, foreign lands, book publishing, spirituality, there's a lot of energy where the sun loves it up there. It's in the house of his joy. And some of you might be completing or capitalizing on education that you've been taking. But for some of you Pisces, it could just be a time of really aligning with your true purpose. And with a trine to Neptune in the house of identity, purpose and identity are coming together in a great synergy that involves your highest hopes and imaginations and dreams and the highest elevation of you as the mystic, as the healer, as the profound poet of the zodiac. So this is a real luscious alignment of purpose and identity in this sky right now. And this happens once a year with Neptune in your first house since 2012, but it's always a good chance to touch back in with that energy, because this time there's a sextile to Pluto at the same time, which will ripen about 4 days after this trine on the 12th. A lot of you would be looking at powerful allies and benefactors wanting to support you in your purpose and your direction in the week that follows this trine, as well as some friction from your own self undoing and hopes of and 12th house of challenging, you know, where we have addictions or bad habits and stuff. On the other hand, Jupiter can also represent a guide or a teacher or a spiritual mentor who's going to square that sun, which can be almost a Zen stick pressuring you to really lean into purpose through maybe the harsh application of teacherly wisdom from some guide or teacher in your life. Aries, sun, moon, and especially rising sign. This is going to be a beautiful, sweet spot in the sky where the sun in the 8th house of money and earnings. Well, money doesn't come from you. Bank loans, karmic, tax rebates, spousal money, inheritances, sometimes a lottery because the government owns the money that you win. You're having this beautiful, lovely, oh my gosh vibe of the sun there, co-joining with Neptune, who is the god of your dreams and wishes. In the 12th house, a lot of you have been going through almost an enlightenment phase since 2012. And Neptune here is also helping you release addictions and move in towards divine intoxication and divine ecstasy instead of substance ecstasy, says the girl who loves her wine and really loves her wine. And, I'm an Aries sun and moon. And also, this energy is such a flow spot for you right now. There could be harmony regarding earnings and money from foreign shores and foreign lands, or ways to accrue that money flowing through you around the 12th. And give or take a few days on either side. But the sun is hitching a power up with Pluto, sextiling Pluto for opportunity and some luck in the 10th house. Someone in great power, an authority figure in your field of endeavor could take notice of you, or you could rise to new power in your field of endeavor in, let's say, the 4 days that follow this trine. So by November 16th, 17th, with the square to Jupiter, especially precise around 3 days after this trine, there could be some kickback or pressure from someone in your social circles who's taking on a leaderful or Jupiterian teacherly vibe, pressuring that sun. But pressure from Jupiter, even a square, usually turns out well. What would that look like? Well, Jupiter is in a money house and he's a god of bounty. And the sun is in a money house, but it could be an unexpected pennies from heaven vibe for some of you, Aries, that's going to be fulfilling some of your deepest dreams and wishes in your life. An alchemical money dividend, ka-ching, jackpot vibe for some of you, Aries, around this time. And my software is not advancing the chart for some reason. Like it's just stuck. Give me a minute, guys. I got to figure out why it's not moving forward. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. Like it's just like now the software won't move forward. Oh, because I moved to minutes. I'm like, oh yeah. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. The sun is shining in the house of your primary significant other relationships. It is a place of where you want to have business partnerships. The 7th house is also your audience or your marketplace or your clients. So a lot of Tauruses, the light has been shining there for 20 days and it's going to be there for 10 more days after the 12th. I mean, this is all relative to the 12th. And you have this gorgeous trine to Neptune in the house of great gains from your career and friends and allies who wish you well and wish to support you. And also Neptune is the god of the dreams and aspirations and hopes and imaginations we have for our life. He's in the house of those things. There's a very strong sense you could have a cosmic or divine download through your partner or through a business partner about your supporting your deepest visions and dreams. But the sextile to Pluto from that sun in the house of higher education, colleges, campuses, book publishing, and foreign shores, a lot of Tauruses are going to have a lot of power up there, getting accepted into your ideal school, getting a advancement, getting in your school, getting a great grade, something like that. And also, if you aspire to travel into foreign shores and lands, a powerful trip could occur or be planned or hatched around the 12th to the 18th of November. Because there's a square from Jupiter, even though Jupiter is squaring, he's still positive, creating a dynamic, lucky action around reputation and career and developments in that area regarding business partnerships, career, reputation, and also your significant other. Jupiter square the sun, your partner in your life could tell you that they just got a promotion, advancement, or something good happened to them as well. Gemini, sun, moon, rising sign, especially the rising people. You have the sun in your 6th house, and that is a place of the work you do in the world, the routines, your daily habits and routines for health and work. It's kind of the grind of the office or the place or the space or your Zoom calls, that kind of thing. By the time you get to the 12th, the sun will have been there for 21 days, and it is around the 12th, give or take a couple of days, forming this gorgeous trine to Neptune in the 10th house of career. This is an elevation and a magical enchantment. You could feel a wonder and awe about work and career, really kind of flowing into a new sort of sense of soulfulness and unity and purpose and alignment with your higher values and your deepest imagination. With the sun in a sextile to Pluto, though, in the house of money that doesn't belong to you, like a bank loan, a mortgage, money, a payout from your employer, a bonus or something. There's some kind of a chunk of money coming for you in the, let's say, week around November 12th to the 19th. And then Jupiter also in that, square to the sun, he's saying about 3 days after the trine, let's say around the 15th, 16th of November, how can I support you from a house of your Dharma in the actualization of a career, work, health objective? Jupiter can be a teacher or a guide or a mentor or a spiritual guide in the 9th house where he's having a good time. He likes that house, looking down at your sun in the 6th. Certainly for some of you, it can be really good for your health. Jupiter and Neptune can both support better vitality and health and the removal of health problems, especially ones that were hidden because of Pluto in the house of the hidden realms, hidden from your own knowledge. So moving on, Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. The energy of this solar light in your 5th house of children, love affairs, independent business, entrepreneurship, owning your own company, 5th house, inspiration, joy, and the muse. Well, the sun likes it there. It's a natural location for the sun. You're finding that the light of the sun is trining the Neptune in the 9th house of your Dharma, your purpose, your higher education, your foreign shores. There's no doubt about it. For some of you, Cancers, you're just wishing you could travel to a seaside resort and get away from it all, get some pleasure, play, and joy on a foreign shore. However, should that not be possible, Cancer rising folk especially, sun and moon as well, then you're going to find instead you're going to channel some enthusiastic inspiration and creativity into birthing something new in your life, whether it is a baby, whether it is a business project or a creative endeavor. Neptune rules the filmography and the video and the music, and he's talking to the sun in the house of the muse. So some of you Cancers are going to be hugely inspired as you become extremely creative. And you'll also have the sun squaring Jupiter, yay, in the 8th house. This is really good for your money. 5th house is a money luck house, speculation and gaming or risky investments. Jupiter is in the money house of investments, will be there until the end of this year. This can open up an opportunity for some of you Cancers to have a financial lucky break, especially if you're taking some risks. Certainly, I suggest this is a good time for a lot of Cancers to play the lottery. And powering up a sextile in your 7th house from Pluto is about power from and for your primary significant other, your spouse or your business partner, supporting this journey you're on. And they may have some significant luck in their money story because of Jupiter in the 8th and Pluto in the 7th, meaning that maybe this is all about your partner's luck and you're getting derivative and collateral benefits. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign, you get this trine between Neptune and the sun. Well, the solar light in the 4th house of home, a lot of Leos are really nesting and sanctuarying and lighting up their home and loving up their home and finding their vigorous vitality from the home base. And the sun has been there now, will be there 20 days or so by the time you're listening to this, around November 12th. And this is a priority area. Now, you could have a parent or a male figure in the home, like an older male figure, authority figure, spending time with you in your home. With the trine to Neptune in the 8th house, however, there is something to do with real estate, land, and money, and involving Neptune. Neptune is difficultly placed for a lot of Leos in the 8th house because you could be fogged out and confused and unsure and uncertain and not see clearly financial opportunities before you. However, sun trine Neptune could be a real estate opportunity, and it could be like a dreamy one at that. Some of you Leos may buy or sell or move or change your real estate story. With a square to Jupiter in the 7th, you may have to argue, negotiate, or like really fine tune legal contracts, and maybe or negotiate part with your business partner or your spouse about how to make this thing happen. But Jupiter will bring it home for sure. And for single Leo risings, this can be also a good opportunity to get legal expert guidance about contracts and agreements to do with real estate and money with Jupiter in the 7th. With Pluto sextiling in a harmonious way from the 6th, this is good for work. This is good for your health. This is good for new health and work routines that really support you, or someone powerful in the workplace supporting your financial endeavors and bringing you in touch with those great gains that are possible from the 8th house. Virgo, sun, moon, and especially rising sign. You get a lot of juice of the light of the sun in your third house of your local neighborhood, cafes and events, things you do in the hood, movie theaters. My daughter just got a job at a local gym. That's sun, so sun in the third house, and she's a Virgo rising. Your siblings are important to you right now with that placement, as well as things you're learning, especially skills-based learning, like how to, be a gym rat hostess for my daughter. The sun is trining Neptune, though. This is a really flowing energy with your significant other and your business partners as well. So you're finding really good harmony there in that relationship. And this is just accentuated on November 13th with that really beautiful, perfect trine. November 12th, sorry, I've advanced the chart, between the sun and Neptune. And so good flow with you and your partner. It will be a good time for you and your partner to take a trip, but it would be likely domestic within your own country sometime in that part of November. Any journeys you take will be lovely. Any socializing you do as well in your local neighborhood, like restaurants and pubs with your partner, would be really sweet during the week of November. We're talking about like the 12th to the 19th. When you see Pluto powering things up from the fifth house, this is joy, fun, play, and pleasure and sexuality. This is really, powerful enjoyment of life, but also it is a house of pregnancy. So just be cautious because of, the energy from Neptune could fog up your birth control a bit. So be off on your guard if you're not looking to get pregnant as a Virgo rising, especially. And powerful new money deals can be had as a result with this combination. The dream contract, the dream money speculation and luck regarding things from your local neighborhood. Jupiter in the sixth house is bringing some goodness around your work and your work environment and health protocols. And this is like exactly what happened to my daughter when she got the gym job. She loves gyms. Jupiter in the house of work, or my Virgo rising daughter blessing her, and then offering up, and talk about a job good for her health. She's a gym rat, going to work in a gym. And then you get the sun, this has been building up, right? She just got this job, but the sun is kind of sticking the landing with Neptune, saying, let's move into a time, especially with others in your life, where you feel really connected in a powerful, dreamy, positive way. Don't forget, this is happening on November 12th. The chart's just advanced. All right, Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. The light of the sun has been shining, will be shining there for a while in your second house of earnings and voice and vocation and resources and possessions and self-worth and self-value. So a lot of you Libras are looking at those things. The sun is shining its light there. With a trine from Neptune in the sixth house of work and health protocols, a couple of things. Shining a really good light in terms of how to be healthier, fogs of confusion, lifting. Sun in the second house, watch what you eat and drink. It's about the things you put in your mouth that can affect your health. And this is a time of shifting those things. The sun is also applying to perhaps giving you positive new vision and inspiration and dreams of what you really desire to achieve, not just for health, but for the way the work you do looks, how your work looks. A shaman friend of mine is Libra, and she's got that Neptune energy in her sixth house. She's a shaman, and she teaches people how to be shamans. That's perfect. Neptune since 2012 in the sixth house for her. Jupiter in the fifth house is bringing joy and play and fun and pleasure the best he can in Aquarius, because Saturn's there lording over him, working hard to play and have fun. And this square from Jupiter in the fifth house, a couple of options. It's a money story for sure. Sun is in a money house, Jupiter's a money house, an unexpected positive money development that could happen, or a money goodness that you have to work to make it happen. But when it does, yay. Take action to support your financial goodness, yay. Pluto in a sextile from the fourth house. Some of this is about real estate, home and land, things you want to do in the home and from the home, generating power, or things to do with transactions like selling and buying of homes and moving of homes, especially given that the sun sextile Pluto opens up a gateway and Neptune supports it from the house of livelihood for home, land, and real estate and mother and stuff like that to amplify your earnings and your joy and the way you feel in your home and about your home and what you do from your home. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, we start with Sag, so you're the last one in. So you guys have the sun in the house of your identity. It is all about you. You get to be all about you, during Scorpio season. So you're really looking at how you want to show up and how you want to be and how you want to support you being you and you doing you in the world during this time. With a trine from Neptune in your 5th house, you want to see yourself in the light of more play, creativity, inspiration, hearing in the muse, supporting the muse supporting you in that water trine, being at one with your inspired muse. If you want to have children, this is a time where that becomes possible, and it's very enlivened right now, as well as your romantic life is important to you and your sexual life. So these things can take on an elevated, dreamy, enchanted quality. With Pluto sextiling from your 3rd house of the local neighborhood, skills-based education and siblings, as well as self-expression and selling. Some of you might find that the way you're able to market and sell things, promote things, be online, the way you're able to be in the environment of skills-based teaching and learning, or things that you do in your local neighborhood are all very powerfully supporting your solar identity as a Scorpio rising, especially, but sun and moon as well. Then you also see that Jupiter in the 4th house, some of you, Scorpio rising especially, good news is trying to happen in your 4th house of home and real estate, and has been since the beginning of 2021. And this isn't over till the end of 21. So you could have some interesting developments or news popping up during this time that makes you feel more excited and more scorpionically actively you. But be strategic, as Scorpios can be, if not darn right manipulative, to make sure that this Jupiter opportunity pays off the way you really want it to. Okay? Could be a change of real estate and a change of neighborhood, pending, and information about all of this percolates around November 12th through to the 19th. Alrighty, guys, that was just a fun all signs quickie. I'm going to now go for a walk in Vancouver, Canada before it starts raining again. I'm recording on Sunday, November 7th. I've just taught my Divine Timing Masterclass, last class. What a great group of students, and had my clients this morning. And now it's my time to do my thing, which is walk before the rain starts. Thanks for listening.